I rolled up to my own house after a 12-hour shift, ready for a cold beer and silence, only to find a gleaming black iron gate welded across my private driveway like it owned the place. A beefy security guard in a fake cop uniform rested his hand on a taser and drawled, "Sorry sir, HOA members only now. You'll need board approval and a daily access permit to reach your own garage." My jaw didn't drop, it locked. Because right behind him, clipboard in hand and pearls gleaming like trophies, stood Victoria Langford, our beloved HOA president, smiling the kind of smile that says, "I just ruined your life and you're going to thank me for it." The whole block of Willow Creek Estates looked picture-perfect that golden California evening. Identical beige houses, flawless lawns cut to HOA regulation 2.5 inches, American flags hung at the exact 45-degree angle Vicky demanded. Everything screamed, harmonious community. Everything except the shiny new gate that turned my private service lane, paid for, paved and maintained by my family for 23 years, into her personal kingdom. I killed the engine, stepped out slow and kept my voice even. "Victoria, that lane is on my deed. It's been mine since my parents built the house in '98. You can't just gate it off because you decided the neighborhood needs a grand entrance feature." She tilted her head like I was a toddler throwing a tantrum. "Ryan, sweetie, the board voted unanimously last month. The new community standards require unified access points for safety and aesthetics. We even sent you 3 certified letters." She waved the clipboard like it was the 10 Commandments. "You never responded, so we had to act in the best interest of the neighborhood. Surely you understand." The guard smirked and popped the taser holster snap. Just like that, loud and final. I didn't flinch. I'd spent years keeping my cool while Vicky fined me $250 for unsightly tomato plants during my divorce, $150 for leaving a ladder out overnight, and $500 because my recycling bin had a dent. I'd smiled through the neighborhood Facebook group posts calling me that angry loner at 1428, and the anonymous wellness check visits from sheriff's deputies who'd been fed stories about my instability. Tonight the mask finally slipped. I pulled out my phone, started recording, and spoke loud enough for the mic. "For the record, Victoria Langford, president of Willow Creek HOA, you have blocked legal access to my private property with an unpermitted gate and authorized armed security to threaten me on my own land. Smile, you're live." Her perfect smile twitched. The guard's hand dropped from the taser like it burned him. Vicky recovered fast, voice dripping honey. "Ryan, this kind of paranoia is exactly why the board is concerned about your mental state. We're only trying to protect the community from elements that don't fit the vision." "Elements," I repeated, tasting the word like spoiled milk. "You mean people who refuse to pay your little fines for breathing wrong?" I stepped closer, still recording. "Move the gate, Vicky. Or tomorrow morning every county inspector, every news station, and every lawyer in a 50-mile radius gets this video plus 23 years of deeds, surveys and canceled checks proving that lane is mine." She laughed, that bright practiced HOA laugh that sounds like wind chimes and broken dreams. "Oh honey, you can try. But the board already filed the easement paperwork. It's official. And if you keep harassing our security, we'll have no choice but to issue a restraining order for everyone's safety, of course." The guard actually puffed up his chest. I just smiled back, the kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes. "See you in court, Victoria. And tell your security that next time he pops that holster on private property, California law says I get to treat him like the trespasser he is." I backed my truck onto the grass, drove around the half-finished concrete pad they were pouring, and parked in my backyard like nothing happened. Vicky's face in the rearview was priceless, red, furious, and suddenly unsure. She thought she'd won the first round. She had no idea I'd been keeping score for years. The next morning the neighborhood Facebook group exploded. "Concerned neighbor," Vicky's sock account posted, "worried about the gentleman at 1428. Another outburst last night. Security felt threatened. Prayers for his mental health." Folded hands. 30 likes in 10 minutes. Comments poured in. "He always seemed off. Remember when he yelled about the flag height rule? My kids are scared to play outside now." I sat at my kitchen table, coffee going cold, scrolling through the digital lynch mob with the calm of a man who'd already printed every deed, every survey, every email. I'd learned the hard way after the first fine storm that silence wasn't weakness, it was ammunition. While they gossiped, I'd installed 4 discrete 4K cameras aimed at the lane. While they called me unstable, I digitized the 1998 home video my dad shot of him and my mom pouring the original concrete. While Vicky slept in her McMansion dreaming of perfect lawns, I'd hired a $300 drone pilot for routine property documentation. I didn't rage post. I didn't call anyone names. I just forwarded the security video to my lawyer with one line. They started it. Let's finish it. By afternoon, a county code enforcement truck showed up. Vicky greeted them in her pastel blazer like she was hosting a garden party. I watched from my porch as she handed over her official paperwork. The inspector frowned, flipped pages, then looked straight at the fresh concrete pad still curing across my lane. Ma'am, this easement claim looks off. We'll need to pull the original plats. Vicky's laugh cracked for the first time. It's all in order. The board voted. Ma'am, you can't vote away someone else's deed. The inspector took photos. The guard tried to look official and ended up tripping over his own extension cord, sprawling face first into the wet concrete. I almost felt bad. Almost. That night Vicky's crew came back under cover of darkness. My cameras caught everything. 2 guys with laser levels, red beams slicing across my grass, Vicky herself in a black hoodie directing them like a budget Bond villain. Shift the line 2 feet left. No one will notice. Make it look like it was always community property. Their voices were crystal clear on the 4K feed. I sipped coffee at 2 a.m. and smiled into the dark. Keep digging, Victoria. You're just burying yourself deeper. The smears got nastier. Anonymous letters in mailboxes. Ryan Hayes has a history of aggression, asked the sheriff. A neighborhood safety meeting was called at Vicky's house. I wasn't invited, but my hidden mic in the community bulletin board was. I listened to Vicky whip the crowd into a frenzy. We can't have unstable people endangering our children. I've spoken to the sheriff. Another incident and he's gone. The neighbors clapped like trained seals. I still didn't react. I just uploaded the nighttime footage to a private cloud folder labeled Victoria's Greatest Hits, and waited. The county inspector returned 3 days later with the original 1998 plats. The easement Vicky filed? Forged signature on the bottom. The laser boys had been adjusting my property line by 9 inches every night to match her fake map. The inspector's face when he saw my drone footage was pure gold. Ma'am, this is fraud. We're referring this to the DA. Vicky's pearls might as well have choked her. This is harassment. He's obsessed with me. The inspector didn't blink. No, ma'am. You're the one trespassing with power tools at 1 a.m. I finally spoke up from my porch, voice carrying across the perfect lawns. Victoria, you spent 3 years fining me for dandelions while you stole my driveway. How's that for community standards? The crowd that had gathered went dead quiet. Someone actually laughed, nervous but real. Vicky's face went the color of her blazer. For the first time, the queen of Willow Creek Estates looked small. But she wasn't done. Oh no. Cornered Karens get creative. 2 days later, a silver sedan rolled up with a podcast journalist, who just happened to know my ex-wife's new address. He cornered me at the mailbox. Mr. Hayes, sources say the divorce was ugly, anger issues maybe? Care to comment on how that's affecting the neighborhood now? I looked straight into his hidden lapel mic and smiled. Tell Victoria her smear campaign is adorable. Also, tell her the DS office just requested all her financials. Turns out those community beautification fees were funding her Tahoe vacations. The guy actually paled. The sedan peeled out so fast it left rubber on the HOA-approved asphalt. That same night my lawyer called. Ryan, they're panicking. Vicky's trying to fast-track a restraining order claiming you're a danger. But we've got the forged docs, the video of her directing the surveyors, and the drone footage timestamped with GPS. Game over. I leaned back on my porch, listening to the crickets and the distant hum of perfect suburban air conditioners. Tell the judge I'll see her in court. And tell Vicky to wear something nice. Orange might be her color. The hearing was standing room only. Willow Creek's finest packed the benches, phones out, ready for the show. Vicky sat at the plaintiff's table in her best, concerned citizen outfit, pearls polished, hair sprayed into submission. Her attorney started strong my outbursts, the threatened security guard, the pattern of intimidation. Then my lawyer stood up and hit play. The courtroom screen lit up with Vicky's own voice at 1:47 a.m. Shift the line 2 feet left. No one will notice. The laser beams danced across my grass. Her hooded silhouette pointed like a general. The crowd gasped. Vicky's face drained of blood so fast her makeup looked like clown paint on a corpse. My lawyer didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. Your Honor, this is the HOA president personally directing the forgery of county records and trespass on private property. We have the original 1998 deeds, the unaltered surveys, and 23 years of maintenance receipts. The gate, the pad, the fake easement, all built on lies. The judge stared at Vicky like she'd grown a second head. Ms. Langford, you have anything to say before I refer this to the district attorney? Vicky shot up, voice cracking. This is a witch hunt. He's obsessed. He's been plotting against the board for years. The gavel cracked like a starter pistol. Sit down, Ms. Langford. Bailiff, please escort the plaintiff to the hallway. We're done here. 2 days later the news van showed up. Victoria Langford, president of Willow Creek HOA, arrested at her McMansion for forgery, conspiracy to commit fraud, and unlawful interference with private property. Handcuffs clicked around those perfect wrists while she screamed about harassment and misunderstandings. The pearls looked ridiculous against the squad car's back seat. The gate came down the next morning. Jackhammers turned the concrete pad into gravel. The board resigned en masse. The neighborhood Facebook group went strangely quiet. I stood in my now open driveway, sun warm on my face, and nailed up a simple black sign. Private driveway and no HOA access. Trespassers will be recorded and prosecuted. I stepped back, dusted my hands, and laughed, the first real laugh in years. Somewhere in county jail, Vicky was probably learning that rules only work when everyone plays fair. The neighbors who'd turned on me started leaving awkward apology casseroles on my porch. I ate them. Waste not, want not. But the best part? The day the new HOA board, elected by actual vote this time, sent me a letter apologizing and offering to cover my legal fees. I sent back one line. Keep your fines. Just stay off my lawn. The weeks that followed felt like waking up from a bad dream nobody else would admit happened. The same people who'd clutched their pearls and whispered unstable, now waved at me like we'd always been best friends. Mrs. Patterson from 1412 dropped off a plate of cookies with a post-it that read, "So sorry about the misunderstanding. I ate one and left the rest for the raccoons." Misunderstanding, my ass. They'd been ready to burn me at the stake for dandelions. Vicky's fall was the gift that kept on giving. The county audit turned up more than just my driveway. Turns out her community beautification fund had paid for her kitchen remodel, her daughter's college tuition, and a suspiciously timed trip to Cabo. The DA added embezzlement to the charges. Every time a new headline dropped, HOA president accused of stealing from neighbors to fund luxury lifestyle, I printed it out and pinned it to the dartboard in my garage. Bullseye every time. I didn't gloat publicly. That wasn't the point. The point was never revenge, it was respect. Respect for the simple truth that a man's home, his driveway, his gate, his damn tomato plants, shouldn't be up for a popularity vote by people whose idea of hardship is choosing between beige or eggshell paint for their shutters. But the universe has a sense of humor darker than mine. 2 months after the arrest, the new board president, mild-mannered accountant named Dave who'd always stayed quiet during Vicky's reign, knocked on my door holding a manila folder like it was radioactive. "Ryan, we found something in the old files." Victoria had plans. I invited him in. Over coffee he showed me the documents. Vicky's secret proposal to redevelop the entire back half of the neighborhood, including my property, into luxury townhomes with premium views. She'd already had preliminary talks with developers. My private lane was going to become the new entrance road. My house? Collateral damage labeled non-conforming structure. Dave's hand shook. I had no idea. None of us did. She told us it was just about aesthetics. I stared at the forged signatures, mine included somehow. The black humor of it all hit me like a truck. This woman hadn't just wanted my driveway. She'd wanted my entire life erased for a bigger parking lot and a fatter bank account. I leaned back, took a slow sip of coffee, and said the only thing that felt right. Dave, tear it up. Burn it. And next time someone on the board starts talking about community standards, remember what happened when one person decided the rules didn't apply to her. He left looking like he'd aged 10 years. Good. Maybe now they'd think twice before sending another certified letter over lawn height. The drone footage went mildly viral on a few HOA horror Reddit threads. Someone edited it to the tune of, "Another one bites the dust." I didn't mind. Let the world laugh. Every share was another homeowner somewhere deciding maybe they didn't have to roll over either. I kept the cameras up though. Old habits. And every night when I pulled into my now unobstructed driveway, I gave the empty lot where Vicky's gate once stood a little salute. Not out of spite. Out of satisfaction. The kind you feel when the bully finally learns the playground has rules for everyone. But the real punchline came 6 months later. Vicky, out on bail and wearing an ankle monitor that clashed horribly with her pastel wardrobe, showed up at a community meeting. The new board had invited all stakeholders to discuss new bylaws. She walked in head high, pearls gleaming, ready for her comeback tour. I sat in the back row, anonymous in a hoodie, just watching. The moment she opened her mouth to speak, I believe the previous administration made some unfortunate errors, but we must move forward together. The entire room went silent. Then someone in the front row started slow clapping. Not applause. Sarcasm. One by one the neighbors joined in until the whole hall sounded like a sarcastic standing ovation. Vicky's face went crimson. She tried to speak over the clapping. This is ridiculous. I was the one who cared about standards. A woman I barely knew, single mom from 1405 who'd once signed Vicky's petition against me, stood up. Standards? You forged documents and tried to steal a man's driveway. Sit down, Victoria. The clapping turned to laughter. Real ugly, unstoppable laughter. Vicky grabbed her purse and fled, ankle monitor beeping as she power-walked to her Mercedes. I didn't laugh. I just sat there feeling the last knot in my chest finally loosen. Later that night I poured myself a beer, stepped onto the porch, and looked down the long private driveway that was finally truly mine again. The moon lit up the new sign I'd installed. Private property, Victoria Langford is not welcome. Trespassers will be prosecuted and mocked on the internet. I raised the bottle to the empty street. Here's to community standards, Vicky. May they always apply to you first. The Willow Creek Estates that emerged from the ashes was quieter, almost thoughtful. No more midnight safety inspections. No more anonymous letters. The new bylaws were simple. Mind your own damn business unless it actually affects safety. They even voted to reimburse me for the legal fees and the 2 months I couldn't use my workshop because of the gate. I accepted the check, donated half to a local veterans legal aid fund, and used the rest to plant a row of middle-finger-shaped topiaries along the property line. Subtle? No. Satisfying? Absolutely. Neighbors started talking to me again like human beings. Kids waved when I drove by. Someone even asked my opinion on the new flag height rule instead of just fining me for breathing. It was weird. Nice weird. Like the neighborhood had woken up from a cult and realized the leader was just a lady with too much time and too many pearls. But every paradise has its snake. 6 months after Vicky's arrest, a new resident moved into her old McMansion. Young, ambitious, already circulating a petition for enhanced security cameras and stricter enforcement. I watched her from my porch the day the moving truck left, clipboard in hand, smiling that same hungry smile Vicky used to wear. I didn't confront her. I didn't need to. I just raised my coffee mug in a silent toast and went back inside. Let her try. The cameras were still rolling. The deeds were still filed. And somewhere in county records, Victoria Langford's mugshot served as a permanent warning. Mess with the wrong quiet guy and the whole house of cards comes down. Sometimes at night I still hear the ghost of that taser holster snap. I smile into the dark and remember the look on Vicky's face when the judge said the words that ended her little empire. The court finds the easement claim fraudulent. All structures will be removed at the plaintiff's expense. Langford, you are ordered to stay 100 yards from Mr. Hayes' property until further notice. Justice doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it comes with a slow, grinding realization that the rules you weaponized against others now apply to you. And when that happens, the laughter you hear isn't cruelty. It's the sound of the neighborhood finally breathing free. I finished my beer, locked the door, and slept like a man whose driveway led exactly where it was supposed to home. So here's the question that keeps me up at night, and maybe you too. When the HOA Karen blocks your driveway, smears your name and forges documents to steal what's yours, is she really protecting the community? Or is she just the neighborhood bully who finally met someone who refused to play by her crooked rules? Was Ryan wrong for fighting back with patience and proof? Or was the real crime letting people like Victoria Langford rewrite reality one fake easement at a time? You tell me. Because in Willow Creek Estates the gate is gone, the cameras are still watching, and the next Karen is already moving in. The question isn't if she'll try. It's whether anyone will have the guts to stop her before it's too late.